Thank you very much, Mariama, and welcome everybody to this webinar. At Zimbra, our partners always come first. So before we introduce Zimbra 9, I'd like to give the word to Libby Rajan from Integra to say a few words about his company and his organization.
Thank you, Matthias. Hi all. So I'm Libby, as Mariama told, and I represent Integra. Integra, we are located in Dubai, and we have been with Integra, with Zimbra from 2007 onwards, and we have did a couple of, a lot of projects, both for the public sector as well as private sector, and we are there to support you across the globe in a way. So we have certified engineers to deploy it, and for the consultation or anything, you can just contact us. So Matthias, just you can take us through the new product, Zimbra 9.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Libby.
Great.
So what's new in Zimbra 9? Let's take a look. First of all, with Zimbra 9, we have 5 major milestones, which is, first of all, a new modern UI that is responsive and delivers the same experience on mobile devices, tablets, as well as desktops. So anytime, anywhere, and on any device, users will have a consistent Zimbra interface. Unlike competitors with closed platforms, Zimbra 9 is designed to be extensible, so small businesses, enterprises, as well as governments and service providers can integrate with the third-party collaboration services they already use today. The new Zimlet framework also allows customizations for users who need to meet geographic or industry-specific requirements. And Zimlets are now even easier to build and to deploy. Zimbra 9 is built with Zimbra's dependable server infrastructure, providing the security, privacy, as well as data sovereignty Zimbra customers have come to expect. This also makes the upgrade to 9 easy without any migration efforts. Current Zimbra users will be able to gain access to the new experience with an easy self-upgrade, but also our professional services team is there to support you if you run into any issues. To ease the transition and adoption of Zimbra 9, your users will also have the option to toggle to the classic Zimbra UI. And just like always, Zimbra 9 can be deployed on-premise, in public or private clouds, or as a hosted service from Zimbra service providers in your own country. Let's talk a little bit about the new responsive user interface. So Zimbra 9 introduces a modern responsive user interface based on industry-leading React-based technology that adapts to the screen it's used on. Users can move seamlessly between desktop, mobile, and tablet browsers while enjoying a consistent and easy-to-use email and collaboration experience. The layout, of course, changes based on the size and capabilities of the device. So for example, on a phone, users would see mail view in a single column view, where a tablet will show the same content in 2 columns, and desktops will have 3 columns. As you can see, but the functionalities don't really diminish with a smaller screen size, except for some intentionally avoided functionalities, like the email advanced composer. The mobile screen supports all advanced functionalities that the web or tablet supports. Now let's talk a little bit about the next milestone, the third-party integrations. Zimbra 9 is designed for extensibility and features best-in-class out-of-the-box integrations with Slack, Dropbox, and Zoom. And we also have many other integrations that are underway. Zimbra is fully committed to creating a collaboration ecosystem that allows small businesses, enterprises, and other organizations to utilize services they use day to day instead of being forced to use or pay for services they don't use. This basically means you can break free from the closed systems of Microsoft and Google and use the apps that you have already invested in. The next milestone, the new Zimbra the new Zimbra Zimlet framework. So Zimbra 9's new Zimlet framework allows for customization flexibility, ranging from high-end collaboration to simple business email. Exclusive as well as custom features can be delivered using the new Zimbra 9 Zimlet framework. For Zimbra administrators, deployment and enablement continues to behave as it has in the past. Customers across a range of regions and market sectors can easily customize Zimbra to meet their unique geographic or industry requirements. And of course, as always, documentation and training will be available. Zimbra's dependable server infrastructure. Zimbra's dependable server infrastructure means Zimbra 9 runs Zimbra's dependable server infrastructure, providing the security, privacy, and data sovereignty Zimbra customers have come to expect, and in many cases actually require. So there's an easy upgrade, there's no migration needed, and users can expect an easy upgrade process moving from Zimbra 8 to Zimbra 9 with no data migration needed. As usual, Zimbra will provide the documentation, tools, and professional services to support the upgrade process. And just like always, Zimbra can be deployed on-premise, in public, private clouds, or as a hosted service from Zimbra service providers in your own country. Now, the classic UI, Zimbra 9 allows end users to easily toggle between the new modern UI and the classic Zimbra UI. So this will ease adoption as end users get accustomed to the new interface and minimize help desk calls. So they will be available to toggle at login, as well as can control this in Zimbra preferences. And there are more customizations. We have more customization options, just like previous versions of Zimbra and the classic UI. You can customize the look and feel of the modern UI for your organization's needs. So you can customize, for example, logo and app icons, the top navigation bar to support integration with external sites, a login page, primary, secondary, and tertiary colors, favicon, title. You can customize the text of a browser's window, title, or the tab bar. You can enable or disable forgot password link for SSO-enabled customers, for example. And you can also customize the sidebar colors, the link colors, the header colors, etc. And of course, the Zimbra writing guide will help you should you require any further information on that. So there really are many reasons to upgrade to Zimbra 9 or to renew your current Zimbra license. So for example, if you have a Zimbra subscription license or a perpetual license with a valid support contract, the upgrade to Zimbra 9 is free. Upgrading to Zimbra 9 provides improved protection against email security vulnerabilities. Upgrading to Zimbra 9 is easy and simple. All new functionalities built into the Zimbra install package. You just simply run the install script and the new functionality will be ready for use immediately. But also our Zimbra professional services team offers an upgrade package if your IT department needs assistance with the upgrade. And of course, Zimbra 9 provides everything you have always loved about Zimbra. We still offer the lowest TCO in the industry. Zimbra is secure, private, and provides full data sovereignty. And Zimbra never reads or sells your email. You can scale your Zimbra deployment from 10 users to 10 million users with confidence. Zimbra runs anytime, anywhere, and on any device. It is able to be installed on-premise, in a public or private cloud, or you choose a hybrid deployment. Your options are wide open with Zimbra. And of course, open source is in our DNA, and we continue to use open source apps. Zimbra 9 will have an open core, and it is licensed, or and licensed Zimbra customers will have access to the code. But Zimbra's extensibility really is Zimbra 9's superpower. That means if you love Zoom, Dropbox or Slack, bam, Zimbra 9 already has them integrated. If you have other business critical applications you're relying upon and invested in, double bam, with Zimbra Zimlet's framework, those apps can be easily integrated with Zimbra. So this brings me to the end of this presentation. Mariama, if you want to check on the question and answers, and if there are any, or if there are none, close this webinar.
Thank you very much, Matthias and Libby. Let me have a quick look at the Q&A panel, see if we received any questions.
So actually, well, I've seen that there is a question about open source. So will there be an open source version of Zimbra 9? So the answer to that question, the short answer is essentially no. I mean, in terms of Zimbra 9, what it consists of is primarily the 8815 backend, which has an open source FOSS version that's downloadable as a binary. Zimbra 9, the primary new features in Zimbra 9 around the modern UI, which is obviously a licensed network edition. So there won't be an open source downloadable version of Zimbra 9, but essentially if you're downloading 8815, then you're effectively getting the same things.
Thank you, Andrew. We received another question. Any upgrade on two-factor authentication that can scan instead of adding the code?
I'm not aware that there's any changes to 2FA in this release. Whether that is something that is on our roadmap, I don't know off the top of my head, but we can certainly take that on board and see that as a potential aspect that we'd like to introduce.
So another question is, are you stopping Zimbra FOSS?
Well, I mean, in terms of, obviously, Zimbra 9 doesn't have a FOSS version available. I mean, in terms of, let's say, 8815 is still essentially a FOSS version. There are binaries available. It's also possible to download the open source version. I mean, at this stage, as I say, we have no plans to, from Zimbra 9 to sort of continue with the FOSS binary downloads, but as I say, in terms of the actual open source code, that will still be available at the current time.
Thank you. Another question is, will iPhone apps be made for chat and drive by Zimbra?
I mean, that's still something that's in discussion. We don't have a definitive plan on that. So that, there are sort of there's commercial aspects and there's also technical aspects around that. So currently we don't have a definitive answer to that question.
Okay, another one is, how much functionality will be live in the release?
Yeah, it's a difficult how much functionality. So I mean, the intention and in terms of the roadmap, particularly, I mean, I guess you're talking about functionality from the point of view of the modern UI. So you probably saw from the screenshots, there are, the standard applications that you'd expect, so mail, contacts, calendar. We'll also be including the Drive app, which is the replacement for Briefcase. There's also going to be Connect, and then just more generally in terms of overall user experience, in comparison to the classic UI, the intention is to sort of evolve the UI to introduce some of the features that are in classic that make sense to introduce, and then obviously in terms of leveraging the React technology, there are probably other things and different ways of doing things. So there is we do have a sort of an internal roadmap that we're working to, and we've identified through the beta testing and also our own internal conversations that we've been having, certain things that we know are currently available in a classic UI that we'd like to see in the modern UI. So I think what you'll find is over time, as we iterate, we will obviously do a GA release, and then there will be patch releases that come down the line at an appropriate cadence, and at those times we will introduce new features or bring features back into or bring features into the modern UI that users might be used to in the classic UI. So yeah, I mean there are going to be some features that you might think, well, either that feature isn't there, it's in the classic UI, but they will potentially come along at a later date. But as I say, because of the technology has changed to some extent, we're also leveraging the fact that we can do things in a different way as well. So.
Thank you very much, Andrew. And we received a couple more questions. Are you going to upgrade the Connect as well, that we can have more features?
I mean, Connect itself will evolve along its own path as well. So it will evolve in line and over time as we all, evolve the Zimbra 9 platform itself. Then Connect has its own roadmap as well. So again, that will, evolve and increase in functionality over time.
Maybe two more questions, and then for the rest, we will email directly those who ask the question. So, is there an alternative to Zimbra Desktop available in Zimbra Collaboration Suite 9?
Not at this point in time, but I mean, fundamentally, Zimbra Desktop still is a functional client. Okay, it's technically purely open source. We don't do any further development with it. It's not something that we have an ongoing development of the existing Zimbra Desktop, but the back end has not changed. So, I mean, because it's still fundamentally, the same APIs in the back end. Zimbra Desktop open source version still will work in the Zimbra 9 environment. There is a separate project that's ongoing around Zimbra Desktop. So, in the future, yes, you'll likely see a new version of Zimbra Desktop.
Okay. How long is a desktop app away from being available?
I don't have a date on that. I don't have a committed date for that.
All right. So we are running out of time. So we will be definitely emailing the answers of the questions to people who didn't get the chance to ask right now. So thank you very much to you all, Matthias, Libby, and Andrew. And thank you all for your attendance to today's webinar. So it's going to be available starting from next week on our YouTube channel. So if you have any questions, you can see Matthias' email address on your screen. It's matthias.koens@tinacor.com. And you also have his phone number in case you want to ask more questions. So thank you very much and have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.